Falcon!
Now, last year I made a video taking a look at various American superhero manga adaptations, which I had a lot of fun with. Seeing these timeless heroes in the world of manga can lead to some interesting results, whether it be bizarre comedies like One Operation Joker, or gritty reimaginings of these characters like the 70s Spider-Man manga, as discussed in my first video. However, now with me getting even deeper into the world of American comic books, I thought it would be a good time to revisit this topic, taking a look at even more manga adaptations of these various comic book superheroes. Again, mostly Spider-Man and Batman. And to start things off, we have SpiderMan J, a manga created by Yamanaka Akira. A cute little series that reimagines Spider-Man as a young Japanese boy going against the forces of Lord Beastius and his horde of bug-themed villains. And honestly, that's it. It's a pretty simple series, only consisting of 2 volumes, that doesn't have much backstory for this new version of Spider-Man or his villains. Rather, it's focused on Spider-Man J and his sort of sidekick, Detective Flynn, fighting off bad guys while occasionally crossing over with other Marvel characters like Elektra and the Fantastic Four. While this manga lacks in story and character due to its short length and episodic structure, I feel it makes up for it in its charm. The overall art style is very pleasing. I love the chibi-esque design of Spider-Man J, and the original villains here are a lot of fun design-wise, with them being more tokusatsu inspired, which is a big bonus for me personally. The action can be fun too, with some pretty creative uses of Spider-Man's powers, whether it be webbing a bad guy to a moving helicopter propeller, using the Human Torch to make a spider air balloon, or even making web clones. One of the few times Spider-Man and clones are good together. While a breezy and charming read, there isn't a whole lot that Spider-Man J has to offer besides its novelty, which is probably why it's the lesser talked about among Spider-Man manga. Moving along, we have Avengers Zombies Assemble by Yusaku Komiyama, which isn't a bad manga by any means, but it honestly just screams cash grab. Coming out in 2015, this Avengers manga not only follows the Avengers, but the MCU Avengers fighting zombies, both of which were very popular at the time. This is another one that is pretty light on story. A zombie outbreak occurs within Stark Labs, and the Avengers have to stop it. It's not really anything too special, to be honest. I guarantee what you think about this manga is pretty much what you're going to get. But I also guess, in a sense, I might as well praise Komiyama a bit for this, as this manga does have a very early MCU feel to it, with the characters acting accordingly, along with all the quips, and even the whole thing with the movies ruining tension with quick comedic bits. Like when Thor is getting infected, he just pops open his eyeball to prank Black Widow. Gross. Though that being said, this manga is oddly a bit nostalgic. Personally, I'm burnt out on my MCU phase and really most big superhero movies, as at this point they feel a bit aimless and releasing so much content it's practically suffocating. But still, I was a pretty big MCU fan from the early days with the first Iron Man movie all the way up to Endgame. And I have loads of good memories watching, discussing, and speculating the movies with family and friends, and reading this manga gave me just a little bit of a spark of those good times. So if you're kinda nostalgic for early MCU, I would say maybe give this a read. Of course, when it comes to superheroes these days, it's all about the crossovers, and manga-wise, Marvel has gone quite a few of them. One of the more better known was Attack on Avengers. And an Avengers and Attack on Titan crossover, which should be something pretty awesome even to someone like me who's never really gotten into Attack on Titan. I've tried a few times, it's just not for me. However, what could have been a good time just feels like a tease, as this crossover is only a handful of pages, in which the Titans spring out of the water attacking New York, and the Avengers and various other Marvel characters have to come out and save the day. That's it. Just as things were getting started, it ends. Which, why? Why would you take this concept and do nothing with it? You get some of the most popular superheroes as well as manga at the time, fuse them together, and you're just going to give us a few pages? Then again, while it would have been cool to see this fleshed out, at the same time I'm not sure how the Titans would fare against Marvel superheroes. Like, I've only ever read a volume or two of the manga, so maybe the Titans power up later down the line, but honestly, I feel like Thor and Hulk could easily take them all on, and adding the other Marvel heroes to it just seems like a bit overkill. And while that's definitely disappointing, at least the next Marvel manga crossover is a lot more entertaining, as back in 2019, Marvel had a crossover project with Jump Plus, which featured a bunch of one-shots and miniseries that followed the Avengers and a few other Marvel characters, which include gag manga like Avengers Gag Reel and Halloween Avengers, which are just cute little gag series, Ant-Man Plus, which is a sweet little story of Scott Lang helping out his daughter during her student exchange in Japan, Interview with Heroes, which features a few Avengers being interviewed as they fight, Deadpool Samurai, which we talked about in the first video, which actually started off as a one-shot here and did well enough to become its own series, which was really fun and definitely one of the better manga to come out of this crossover. And finally there was Secret Reverse, which out of the bunch was the one that got me excited the most, as it was written and drawn by the late and absolutely great Kazuki Takahashi, the creator of Yu-Gi-Oh!, which was a big part of my childhood, and I read the original manga late last year, and it's easily now one of my favorite mangas of all time. So I was really excited to check this one out, especially knowing that Takahashi himself was a big fan of American comics. While fun, this is another pretty straightforward read. Tony Stark and Peter Parker coincidentally meet up at a convention where a game designer known as Kaio is ready to unveil his newest game, Secret Reverse, which, using state-of-the-art technology, should be one of the greatest games ever made. And with this still being a story by Takahashi, the power quickly gets to him, and the card game can summon real monsters, and now Peter and Tony must suit up and stop Kaio. While this is just as simple and fast as the other manga we've talked about so far, I still had a lot of fun with it, but I might be biased because I really like Takahashi. It's awesome seeing his art style on these characters, and according to the author comments in the back, Spider-Man and Iron Man are among his favorites in Marvel, so it's nice seeing that he was given the opportunity to write and draw for them. And really, you can't beat the novelty of seeing Iron Man and Spider-Man fight what is essentially a Yu-Gi-Oh! Character. It's just a really fun concept. If the crossover was going to go in this direction, I kind of wish they just went all out, and rather than Kaio being the villain here, we could have just had Seto Kaiba. I would have loved seeing Kaiba's cocky ass shit talk Tony Stark when showing off his inventions, and then maybe later on down the line we could have Yugi come in to help out Iron Man and Spider-Man. So if you're also a Yu-Gi-Oh fan, this might be a worthwhile crossover to check out. And now we'll be switching over to DC manga, or really just some more Bat manga. And luckily the two we're going to be covering have a little bit more to chew on than the previous manga we've been talking about, with the first of the two being Batman Death Mask by Yoshinori Natsume. As you would with most Batman stories, trouble is brewing in Gotham City and Batman must stop it, though this trouble isn't from someone from Batman's normal rogues gallery. Rather, it seems to be from a mysterious killer, one with an obsession with slicing off faces, that may have ties to Bruce Wayne during his early days in training in Japan. For a volume, this one has a lot packed in. We have a fun little mystery, a good balance of Batman and Bruce Wayne, as well as a looming aura of fear with the villain here. Speaking of, I really do love the villain's silhouette, which is seen through a good portion of the manga. It's just so menacing and creepy, but also very simple and near identical to Batman. Honestly, without the occasional graphic face slice, I feel this would have made for a good episode or two of Batman the Animated Series, which I think is praise enough for this manga. And now we've reached the last manga we're going to be discussing in this video, Batman and the Child of Dreams. Batman's rogues have been popping up all over Gotham, which should be normal for the Caped Crusader, however most of them have already been detained. It turns out this recent wave of his familiar bad guys are all imposters, but before Batman can question any of them, they all quickly die. The only connection to all this seems to be a mysterious pill that leads Batman to Japan, where his self-proclaimed biggest fan lies waiting, ready to push the Dark Knight to his absolute limits. all while both Batman and Bruce Wayne have various encounters with a Japanese reporter by the name of Yuko Yagi, who may also be connected to these incidents around Gotham. Child of Dreams feels like the closest out of all the Batman manga I've read to feel like a proper Batman graphic novel. Maybe not one of the higher tier ones, but definitely something I feel even most hardcore Batman fans should read. Which I feel is a testament to the mangaka here, as he mentions in the interview in the back that he is a big Batman fan and really wanted to bring the Batman in the comics to Japan, as he felt in Japan people were more familiar with Batman through the movies, which, considering this manga came out in 2000, the most recent Batman movie at the time would have been Batman and Robin. So understandably he wanted to bring Batman justice in his own work. The overall story of Child of Dreams may not be breaking any new ground for the character, but it still provides some fun mystery, great action, as well as a couple fun twists. The art here is also great. This is probably my favorite manga version of Batman, with lots of silhouettes and cape flowing panels. The ears are also a perfect height for me personally, as I felt Death Mask Batman had ears that were a bit too short for my taste. Also, while he was only in here for a bit, I absolutely love Joker's design here, with the crazy maniac smile. My only personal detractor with the art here is that, especially in the side views, the characters' noses can be pretty big, almost taking me out of it a bit a few times, as the noses look like they're on their way to turn into kaiji characters. Story-wise, my only real gripe is with Yuko, as she really doesn't do a whole lot besides being captured. Like, in a 2-volume series, she needs to be rescued like 4 times. She also serves as a bit of a love interest for Bruce Wayne, and while their dates together could be kinda cute at times, considering part of her backstory is that she originally became interested in Batman when she was rescued by him as a little girl from some criminals when her family took a vacation to Gotham City, kinda raises some questions. First of all, 1, who vacations to Gotham City of all places? And 2, how old is Batman / Bruce Wayne in this manga? But really, besides that, at least out of all the Batman manga I've read so far, this is definitely the best of them. And with that, we'll leave it off here in checking out American superhero manga. There's still a lot more out there, and I may return to this topic sometime later in the future, though unfortunately a lot of them seem to be untranslated. Even then, there's some other opportunities to check out, like seeing some anime characters being brought over in comic book form, as well as tokusatsu characters, which I've already done a bit in a previous video, which you should check out if you haven't already, as I definitely need to make a follow-up video for that one sometime soon. As always, I'm Mr. FalconPunch. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, peace out.